Hey guys, welcome. Glad you stopped by. So I finally decided what we were at least do for dinner this week, and I thought we'd do something simple. It'd make it great. Well, it's not simple, but it's simple. But I think it'll make a great family meal, a weekend meal, a Sunday meal, almost, or at least a good Sunday main dish. We're gonna do a pork loin, but we're gonna do like a sweet and spicy pork loin. That involves brown sugar, but it also has cayenne pepper in it, and it's going to make, I believe, an amazing pork loin. And I'll side it, in this case, with some broccoli, maybe some corn also, and some rice. That way, it's just a good, solid Sunday meal. You could also do a baked potato with this. There's just all kinds of stuff you could do with it, I believe. If you're new and this is your first video, that was a big joke. If this is your first video, welcome. I hope you get something out of this video. Check out some of my other ones if you're so inclined, or if you find anything in this one interesting enough to check out the other ones. If you're returning or one of the new subscribers, welcome back. Thank you. That means the world to me. It really does. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comments, always welcome. All I ask is you be polite. You don't have to agree. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with somebody in the comments. Just be polite when you do it. Think before you type, so to speak. So, I think that's about it. I mean, as far as that goes, but like I said, this pork tenderloin is going to be off the hook. It's super simple. I like all the ingredients in it. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ingredients, not including the pork loin, and it's all spices. So we should have, and it's all basic spices. I am telling you, this could be something you're going to take more time putting it in the oven than you are actually getting it together. But anyhow, why don't we get on down to the counter and we'll get started on this bad boy. Hold on for me just 1 second. All right, we're down here at the counter as always. Recipe in hand. Actually, I have both my notebooks down here. Not sure why, but I do. And I've written down the recipe. I didn't really modify anything on this one, just because it sounded good the way it was. But the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees. We got it preheating right now as we speak, so that way it's nice and hot when we get it in the oven. Now, I have a pork loin here, not to be confused with a pork tenderloin. It's larger, all right? So this is a 4-pound, well, it's almost 5-pound pork tenderloin. And for this recipe, you're gonna want at least a 4-pound. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. The original recipe called for a 4-pound pork loin. This is a 5-pound because that's what I had in the freezer. And it all comes down to cooking time. Not so much the rub that we're going to put, the brown sugar rub we're going to put on it, but the cooking time. And all I did was open it up, I dried it off, and we're going to put it in a pan, cap side up. If you see on there, if I can grab a hold of it, that side, very meaty. This side has a fat cap on it. We want that, we're going to keep that. With that right there is what's going to give this its juiciness. Now, we have to pay attention while we're cooking this because we can't overcook it. What happens if you overcook it? It gets dry. So we want to make sure that we keep a close eye on when we get to that. We'll talk more about that later. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my knife, and this is just something I want to do, and I'm just gonna lightly score the top of this. And then I'm gonna do the same on the bottom. You don't want to, I mean, it's like Bob Ross would say, 2 hairs and some air. We're not looking to cut it all the way through. We're just looking to open that up a little bit, so when we pack our rub on it, it will stay. And I'm going to do it on the bottom too, even though we're not actually going to put any of the mix on the bottom. It will the brown sugar, as it melts and brings the spices with it, should run down the side of it and kind of hit the bottom enough. So we got that done, right? Next thing we're gonna do is wipe off our hands so we don't have all that raw pork on our fingers. We're just gonna set that aside for a minute. Now we're gonna go ahead and make the rub that goes with this. In the rub, I've got one heavily packed 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and you can vary this. I mean, even the original recipe didn't say heavily packed, but I thought it gets a fair amount of cayenne, which you can adjust that, obviously. But I want to use the original amount, so I heavily packed, tightly packed that 1/4 cup down to give me a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. To this, I am going to add, this is going to be a teaspoon of each of these, but I'm going to add a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and it doesn't have to be exact, not by any means. You know, it's just like making anything else you would for dinner. The choices are yours. I was already even thinking of other spices I could add to this, you know, that I think would be good. I think sage would be okay with this, or even a oregano, or you know, basil, for that matter. Things that would go with pork. I'm sorry, that was a teaspoon of cayenne. And I got a teaspoon of garlic. Well, I'm using granulated garlic. I don't buy garlic powder. I really like granulated garlic, and it seems to work well anytime it says garlic powder. So I've got my 1/4 cup of tightly packed brown sugar. I've got a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of cayenne, and a teaspoon of garlic powder so far. I'm going to use a teaspoon of just crushed black pepper. Yeah, and it's coarsely ground crushed black pepper. Yep, there goes the oven. Now you can use fresh cracked black pepper. You can use finely ground black pepper, table pepper from your table. And the last thing I'm gonna add, if I can get it open, is a teaspoon of salt. And that concludes our spices in this. Yeah, like I said, it's pretty straightforward and simple recipe. The last thing I need to add to this before we mix it up is 3 tablespoons of olive oil. That really I had to think about that one for a minute. It kind of caught me off guard for a rub, but I'm pretty sure it serves purpose. I think its big purpose is to help hold everything on to the pork, you know. And then all we gotta do is mix this up, and we're gonna mix it up till everything's wet and it looks kind of like coarse or wet sand. Okay, so we have got our mix completed right there, and now we just have to grab our pork loin again. Pork loin is considered like the roast of pork. Yeah, you have a beef roast and things like that. This is the pork version of the beef roast. And so what we need to do now is just simply take our rub here, and we're gonna pack it on to the roast, yeah, and just all along the sides, yeah, or along the top and the sides, just like such. Now you could get fancy and tie this so it looks a little more round, but I'm not going to, because I guess I just don't see the point in that. It would be different if we were doing, you know, a dish with it that required it being tied, but it doesn't. So I don't think we'll have any problems. Okay, so we got her packed on there, looking nice. I think that looks amazing. So now let's throw it in the oven, and we're going to talk about cooking this, because there's a couple steps to this, but the first one doesn't take very long, and then the second one takes long, but you don't have to come back after it really. So we're at 400 degrees, right? We're gonna cook this at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. What that's going to do is seal it, you know, and start to give that brown sugar mix a good crust. After that 15 minutes is up, I'm going to turn the temperature down to 350 degrees, and I am going to cook this for 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes for every pound that pork roast weighs, that pork loin weighs, or until the internal temperature of this loin is 145 degrees. A meat thermometer comes in real handy, or a thermometer of some sort. I happen to have a meat thermometer, but even like the candy thermometer I used a couple of videos back will work just as well. That is a multi-purpose thermometer, but you need something that'll at least register to 145 degrees. That way you know you're done. You're in the safe zone, and you want to check it in the thickest parts of the pork. But anyhow, we'll get to that when we get done. 400 degrees, 15 minutes, 10 minutes for every pound at 350 after that. See you here in a second. Okay, so we actually did about 55 minutes in the oven, and then I let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes covered, and I just threw some foil over the top of it, and then I let it rest for 10 minutes. Couple reasons. Especially with meats, there's a lot of activity going on inside that meat and the muscle with the spices and the juices and the grease, and you want it all to settle down. And plus, if you try to eat it right away, it would melt your face. So we let it rest for 10 minutes, and then I went ahead and plated it up. Now, I wish you could be here because it smells absolutely amazing. And I don't even know how to describe it. It looks incredible. I mean, I think I just showed it to you, but we'll show it to you again because that looks incredible. We lost very little off of the top of the loin. So now what we need to do is cut this into about 1/2-inch pieces. Is what we're looking to grab here. But I mean, you cut them as thick and thin as you want. But see how juicy that is? I don't know if you can see the juice coming off the side here or not. I wish I had a little sharper knife. I should have got the good knife out, but that's all right. But the juices coming off of this thing are ridiculous. I did temp it. I took its temperature before. I took it when I took it out before I let it rest. I took its temperature, and it was right at 147. So it was a little higher than 145, but that's okay. You just don't want to get it up there in the 155, 160 range, because then you're looking at well done and dry. But that looks absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, look at all those juices pouring off of there. And the smell is outstanding. Here, I'll go ahead. I'll leave that set right there so I can take it up to the table and finish cutting it. And like I said, with this, we're just gonna have some rice, a little bit of jasmine or a little bit of basmati rice to go with it. And I saved a little bit of the what did come off of the drippings, and I can just put that over my rice. Now, we were originally gonna have steamed broccoli, but oddly enough, the broccoli had gone a little south, and not more so than I liked at any rate. The florets still looked fresh, but the stalks were looking a little rough. So instead we're having spinach. And like I said, I may even heat up some corn real quick. But there we are. I mean, there's our spinach, our rice, our pork. Sorry, I got sidetracked there for a second. So now all we have to do is just give it a try, right? So we go ahead and set that down. I'll bring you up here so that way I can see your beautiful face. I do so like to be able to see you. I someday I will have a way to be able to cook with you, and be able to be able to see it at the same time. It'd be nice to have this view and be able to just occasionally come in and show you what's going on, and closer up, so, but we'll get there eventually. I got nothing but time, and hopefully you got nothing but patience. But we're gonna give this a try. I am gonna take some of those drippings. So right there, I got the drippings right there. I don't know if you can see them or not. And that's just simply the brown sugar and the oil and a little bit of the fat, which I'm gonna pour off of there. And all those spices from the pork, I'm just gonna go ahead and pour a little bit on top of my pork, and I put a little over the rice also so I could try it. But I'm so excited. Let's give this a shot. I'm actually gonna try a bite of that end piece. It seems to have the most everything on it. Get this cut. Oh, that brown sugar is just so perfectly crunchy on there. Yeah, there's just some things you can tell, but we are going to grab a little bit of the rice, some of the pork, and we're going to give this a shot. That is outstanding. Outstanding. Oh. To die for. Yeah. It is not. I thought for sure with a teaspoon of cayenne, it might be a little heavy on the heat, but that is perfect with that brown sugar. I'm gonna have some spinach. It's funny, the things that you didn't like when you were a kid that you really like as an adult. You wouldn't have caught me dead eating spinach as a kid. And then all of a sudden one day, it was like I hit a certain age and I tried fresh spinach. And that was sold me. And then I tried canned spinach, horrible. Then I tried frozen spinach, not too bad. You know, it's fresh or frozen spinach, I can do. Most canned vegetables, I don't do well with. I do still have a soft spot for canned peas, but that's a whole other story. This, on the other hand, those flavors, all there. Sweet, spicy, smoky with the smoked paprika I put in there. The loin, the roast, is so juicy, so juicy. Unbelievable. You need to give this a try. Let me know if you do. Let me know down in the comments, or pop on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook group, Mr. Smith's Kitchen, Instagram, Mr. Smith's Kitchen, which is my personal Instagram page, but really I don't post anything on either social media outlet that I'm involved in that's not respectable, whether it be food, dinner, desserts, and inspirational quotes. But I'm always there to ask questions, answer questions. I put different recipes on there. One of our neighborhood friends here on the channel actually sent a brownie recipe that it's a cream cheese brownie that looks amazing. And I think I got it on the Facebook, but it's for sure on our messenger page. All the same, if it's not, I'll look tonight, and if it's not, I'll make sure it gets over there. I briefly looked the other day, but I don't remember now. Either way, it'll be there because it looks really good and it's got the full recipe with it. That way everybody can try it, right? But give this a try. For sure, give this a try. You're not gonna be disappointed. And I was thinking about the brown sugar thing. I don't know what you could really replace it with. You could try honey, but I don't know what you would get that crunch with. So if you have any ideas, let me know, hands down. I know we have a few friends here in the neighborhood that are diabetic, and this wouldn't be a suitable top for a crisp top for them. But if they have any ideas, let me know, hands down. That would be a neat thing to talk about in comments. So tomorrow for dessert, I'm still not real sure. I kind of want to just do a cake. You know, a nice, good, clean cake. It sounds good. I feel like I haven't done just a normal cake in a while. I could be wrong. I'll have to look. But then, I don't know. But we'll figure it out, you know, because I love to make dessert and I love to bake. So till tomorrow, when we do find something to get into in the kitchen, I love you. I love you very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and you love them very much. They may need to hear it. You know, it's gonna make them feel great either way it goes. It's gonna make you feel good to tell them that. And if you invite them over for some pork loin, especially this sweet and spicy pork loin, they are gonna have a full belly, positive attitude. There's gonna be lots of conversation, especially if you make them some healthy vegetables, some rice on the side, or whatever you like at your dinner table. It's gonna bring an evening of conversation either way it goes. So till tomorrow for dessert, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.